All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month's Sip and Pitch. And also happy Pride to everyone as we are nearing the end of Pride Month. My name is Greg Schimber. I am the Vice President of Corporate Relations with Nglcc, and my pronouns are he and him. So to get started with today's special event, I would like to send a huge welcome and thank you to our sponsor for the Sip and Pitch for June. That is John Hancock. And so I would like to introduce some of our judges, which are here representing John Hancock. All three of them are. And so if you could each introduce yourself and give our audience a little bit of a background as to who you are and what you do. And Gwendolyn, if you don't mind, I'd like to start with you.
Thank you, Greg. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gwendolyn McCoy, and I am the U.S. Head of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at John Hancock. I'm very happy to be here. Excited because, first of all, I have a special passion for entrepreneurship. I have a flower business, so that's the fun fact about me. So I'm always curious about the great ideas that folks have in regards to their business aspirations and dreams. So good luck, everyone.
Thank you. And Anne Langlois, could you go next?
Well, yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Anne Langlois. I've been at John Hancock about 9 years. I work in procurement. I happen to live in New Hampshire, though, and we have two great dogs that I will be out walking this weekend around the lake, and I love to do that. So I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much. And that sounds like a perfect weekend, in my opinion. And our very good friend, Phil. Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, everyone. Yes, for me as well, it's a pleasure to be here. I am responsible for our supplier diversity program. So, of course, this, just being here is a really great honor. Shameless plug that, but I mean it, Greg is one of the nicest people within my whole supplier diversity world that I work with. He's just a super great guy. So I had to get that in. And I guess if we're doing fun facts, I am not just a dog dad, but dogs are in animal rescue are my passion in life.
Wonderful. And I promise I did not pay him or sway him to say that. Thank you so much.
No. But if you did, it would be in Bitcoin. I know. So.
Okay, fair enough. And so I think with that said, I think our pitchers today will be thrilled to receive just as great feedback as well. So thank you. So let's go ahead and get started with the ground rules for today's event, and then we will go ahead and get started right after that. So each company that is pitching today will have 5 minutes to practice their pitch. And you only get one presenter from each participating company. And then afterwards, the judges will have 10 minutes to provide feedback and also provide an opportunity for questions and answers for the judges to the presenter. So if you don't have a presentation, there's no problem. This is designed to be an informal platform to provide real-time feedback for your company's pitch. And if you're not speaking, please do mute your microphone so that there is no interference for those that are speaking. Team Nglcc will also provide a warning at 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. And so Jesse, if you can just say hello real quick and let everyone know that you are here with the timer.
Hi, everyone. I'll be here and there will be a little timer on the right side of my screen showing you your 5-minute timer.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, keep in mind, as I said, it's informal, but this is a judgment-free zone. It is designed to enhance to allow these businesses to enhance their business pitch and grow your company. So all feedback is shared in the spirit of collaboration. We want everyone to have fun, but we also want participation. If you are not presenting or you're not a judge, it's okay. Use the chat feature to put any questions, comments you may have, and the presenters will be able to see that at that time. And also, if you have the questions, we will present those to the speakers. So we are ready to get started. So let's go ahead and bring up the first company here. It would be Michelle, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is Michelle Raymond with My G Work. Michelle, let's go ahead and kick it off.
Hello, can everyone hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, perfect. Am I able to share my screen? It says I'm still waiting for, I guess, the permissions to.
Sure. There you go. You should have it there now.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's take it away. My name is Michelle. I'm representing My G Work today. I'm the Global Business Development Director for the company. And My G Work is the largest talent platform and professional network for the LGBT community. So we have members that sign up to our platform from all over the world, more than 500,000 to be exact. And membership for individuals is absolutely free. So to sign up to My G Work, it takes less than 2 minutes. We even have a one-click sign-on option via LinkedIn. The easiest way to think about our platform actually is that we're similar to a LinkedIn, but just with a niche audience, which is the LGBT community. And when you sign up, not only can you have the opportunity to connect with other members from all across the globe, you can also sign up for different volunteer opportunities, whether that's being a mentor on our platform. You'll have a little M flag over your profile, like I'm showing on the screen right now. This is just to indicate if you need professional guidance or advice, you're someone that our community can reach out to. We also have country ambassador programs in case you're getting relocated to a new country, maybe want some support or advice about what neighborhoods might be safe for you. And we also have a mental health first aiders program as well. So this is all part of our initiative to not only build a business platform, but also a community. So far I've talked a little bit about our members, but now I want to talk about what it's like to join as a business, because that is our main focus in terms of revenue. So for individuals, it's absolutely free. However, organizations pay an annual membership fee to join our platform. And as you can see on the screen right now, we currently have 320 partners that range from different industries. Some are multinational companies, some are household names, others are startups that are building their teams for the first time. And of course, every company that's represented on our platform are in different stages of their own D&I journeys. So what we try to provide our organizations are different membership schemes, really help you get not only diverse talent interested in careers opportunities with you, it's a branding opportunity for you to showcase your organization and the different initiatives you have in support of the LGBT community, but also it's an opportunity for your employees to connect on our platform. So to show you an example of what a profile looks like, the first thing we do is highlight more information about your organization here. Again, it's an amazing opportunity to not only highlight what it looks like to work at your company, but we really love to deep dive into D&I within the organization. So that might be highlighting employee resource groups or different initiatives that you may have, different programming. This is, of course, an intersectional community. So if that goes beyond LGBT, a lot of our organizations talk about their initiatives to improve gender equality within the firm or ethnic diversity. Really, this is a little bit different how you might position yourself here versus other platforms like LinkedIn or Indeed, which are for more general audience members. So in addition to having information about your company, we have an integration set in place with different applicant tracking systems. So companies can advertise their jobs here automatically. They don't have to do any manual uploads. So for example, if you use a company like Workday, where you're advertising your positions, the job descriptions are going to pull through automatically. They're just going to be reformatted to fit our screen. And then when the applicant clicks apply, they're going to be redirected to the applicant tracking system that organization is using. So in doing so, this doesn't require any sort of disclosure about who you are, where you're from. It's a redirect button, much like we often see on LinkedIn. However, at the end of the URL, you might add a source code, which is My G Work, or maybe you have that aggregator in place that does that for you. But that helps the talent acquisition team understand that this candidate came from my G work versus LinkedIn or any other job platform that you may be using. So heading back over to a profile example, the other thing I just wanted to highlight, this is an opportunity for employees to leave reviews about the organization. This is always great from the talent perspective to get some authentic messaging about what people's lived experiences are. You can share articles, anything related to diversity and inclusion. And this is free and unlimited with every membership package. Sharing your events, maybe you have an open house, a virtual get to know us day, maybe it's a career fair that you're participating in or a new program that you'd like our audience to know more about. And last but not least, connecting employees. Now that's across different state lines or in some cases countries. So this is a little bit about what it looks like to join as a company. Our membership plans range from 6,500 to 35,000 per year, depending on what type of packages you need. So that can include things like D&I trainings that are included for your organization and employees, different opportunities like our virtual career fair. And what we're just finishing up today is our Work Pride Conference, which is a 5-day event for our inclusive organizations to come and share best practices. It's free, and we had 21,000 people come this year. So in summary, that's my G work.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. I have to check myself. I am not necessarily one of the judges to start asking the question or providing feedback, but I cannot wait to hear some questions. And Anne, if we can go ahead and start with you with any feedback or questions you may have. I think you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I thought it was a wow site. It's absolutely fantastic. What I really liked about it was that I think that the user interface is very simple and easy for people to maneuver. I loved the concepts of the things you said you're working on. I mean, yeah, it's a LinkedIn site, but it also provides a sense of community. I love the fact that there's the mental health aspects, and people getting together. I felt like your delivery was enthusiastic and very clear.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And Gwendolyn.
Okay, so Michelle, great job with the presentation. A couple of things that stood out for me. I love how you all have relocating tips, tricks, and references. So I think that that's a plus, especially when you're coming from different countries where their experiences may be quite different than being here in the States, for example. Love how you have it integrated with Workday, because usually that's the first thing. Will it integrate with my applicant tracking system? And you solution how they would be able to identify that it came from your website versus a LinkedIn or others. I think that that's amazing as well. I have a question about your 5-day conference. Like, what were the goals? And I know you're still in the midst of it actually today, but what were some of the goals and what was your target audience?
Thank you. That's a great question. So this event was actually created 3 years ago during the pandemic when many of the Pride activities were being canceled. So we wanted to create an opportunity for our members to be able to, still celebrate Pride Month, to be able to see each other, but also for our companies to have the platform to share best practices, to talk about different programs that they've launched. Every day has a different theme. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit to show you that today we're focused on mental health and well-being. Day 1 was about allyship, networks, and how to grow employee resource groups or what they've been doing around the world. So with this event, what we really try to do is have 70 different webinars that focus on intersectionality within the LGBT community, giving some voice to people that maybe are underrepresented. It's also set up to be an employee engagement event. So it's one way that our employers can now share this event with their own community. If employees attend at least 5 of our webinars out of the 70 throughout the week, they'll get a certificate of inclusion and attendance from IG work. So it's one of those activities that not only highlights what our organizations have been doing throughout the year, but it really creates, again, that sense of community. And what we found out over the last couple of years of hosting this event is that we're reaching markets that we never thought imaginable. We found out on Zoom that if we turn on closed captioning, we started reaching deaf communities. And that's something that we didn't anticipate. Last year, we had a lot of feedback from community members that said, I'm deaf and it's the first Pride event that I've been able to understand what's going on, because a lot of times there's web glitches. Maybe they're at an in-person event and it's just maybe an interpreter isn't available. So it's had sort of this snowball effect where our target audience was really just our members and our organizations, but now it's reaching communities that we never thought imaginable. Just scrolling through a
Wonderful.
couple of the webinars
That's
here.
one-
You can see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great content. Thank you.
So before I add my own either questions or comments here for the judges, do you have any specific questions for the platform, Michelle, regarding the platform or the benefits? No? Well, I'd like to.
Well, yes,
Oh,
but no, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. So how, first of all, do you have any what you would consider direct competitors? And if not, is there anybody even close? Because this is very unique, I think. And I like how you did, it made it easier to understand by bringing LinkedIn, but it really, because you're zoning in on a target audience, I think it's really, really well done. But I'm just curious, is there anything out there like this other than yours?
There are, of course, other diversity job boards that focus on different communities that may be veterans, incarcerated people, for example, women in business. So there are other diversity job boards that we're not necessarily in competition with because we really focus in on the LGBT community. But in the LGBT space, most of them are usually focused, our competitors like Sticks and Stones, but they're for a specific region, which is Germany, for example. Maybe you have Out in Tech, but that's not a job board. It's a community for tech, for people that are LGBT. So there's maybe similar or adjacent companies, but no really direct competitor on the global space.
So if I could, just a follow-up question or two. So based on what you just said, if you had to name 2 or 3 particular things that make you stand apart, what would you say it is?
One, that we're a global platform. Many others, as I mentioned, are focused on specific regions. In addition to being a job board, we try to give companies tools in which to grow their D&I efforts, no matter what stage of the business that they are. And we're not just for multinationals or major organizations. We're also for startups. We provide 50% off our packages for organizations with less than 250 employees.
Great. And I can, just not a question, but I just want to also give my opinion. You know, what Ann had said, I totally agree. You did a great job. It looks great, but I think the standout for me is that if non-company participants or people that want to join, it's free, and that's admirable.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Any other questions from the judges? I did see a question in the chat window, Michelle, and I think you answered this at the beginning. And so tell me if I'm quoting this wrong, but the question is, how many members do you have? So how many of them are corporations that are signed on? And if I recall, you said you have over 320 partners, and of the users, it was 500,000 plus, but can you correct me if I'm wrong?
No, you nailed it. So 500,000 members, that's individuals that have registered to the platform. I do want to mention one thing though, is that you don't have to create a profile in order to use our platform. So we do have some people that are part of the community, but not necessarily out, or they reside in a country where it's illegal to be LGBT. So maybe they don't want to create a profile, and that's okay. Everything about our platform is open access. So we actually have closer to 1 million monthly users, but 500,000 are actually registered with a profile to the platform itself. And then on the organization side, we have 320 partners.
Okay, perfect. So that actually, I had a couple questions and that answered one of them. Just knowing that this is global, which I have to say, this is so impressive what you, well, let me go with, I have a couple compliments. So I love the layout of the page. It's very, like, awkwardly comfortable and simplistic to use for as much as you're offering. I thought, am I missing something here? But it's really well laid out. So kudos to you on that. And I was curious, since you are mentioning global, what kind of security parameters do you have for those that are signing up? But so you just answered that they don't have to have a profile, just knowing that each country is quite different. So you just answered that question. The only other question I have is how have some of these members that you have utilized your platform to advance like employee resource group initiatives or getting more buy-on or programs? I just see there's content in here to help them through topics, but have you had any examples of ERGs utilizing this?
Yes, and before I answer that, I wanted to add one more thing about the security question, which is one, we don't share data. You don't have to enter any personal data to apply for the jobs, and we don't sell the data. And also, if I weren't signed in right now, this member section wouldn't be accessible for public view. So if you went to mygwork.com right now and clicked on members and weren't signed in, this would say, please sign in order to access. So if I Googled my name, it wouldn't show up next to my G-Work on a search. And that's something else that's really important. So I just wanted to mention that before I answer your next question. So in terms of how we help the community, we have a whole bunch of different events. Right now, it's flooded with my G-Work work pride events. But what we do is we have monthly workshops that are free, things like CV writing skills, how to land a virtual interview, for example. Our companies are sharing their events here. You'll notice some of our content is in Spanish and some is in English. Some of our workshops are, here's CV writing, which I was mentioning earlier. Some of them are how to be a mentor on the platform or get access to mentors. So all of this being said, what we try to do is give different free workshops for our community to be able to, one, connect with our employers, but two, help them get to that stage of application, whether that's support with CV writing, maybe attending different panel discussions. Every single month, we actually have different intersectionality events and panels, and some of them are focused on growing networks, for example. Others are focused on certain topics like LGBT parenting, certain days in the LGBT calendar, like Trans Day of Visibility. So there's so much content that's happening every single month that there's opportunities to learn. And a lot of our members are either using our platform to apply for jobs and have been hired. A great case study is Pearson. They're an education management company. They hired 682 people from G-Work last year. And that was their third largest source of talent out of all of the different job boards that they utilize. So it's either they're getting a job via G-Work or they're attending one of our workshops and getting prepared to apply for their next one.
Amazing. All right, this was a wonderful way to kick off the sip and pitch pitches today. Michelle, I want to say thank you for starting us off and presenting this. And if you can, please stay online as we wrap up this first hour. A little bit later on, we'll get some last minute feedback from all the judges before I take a break and move on to the next section of pitch. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity, and thank you, judges.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and move on to our next pitch, which is James Lynch with My Court Support. James, are you on?
Yes, can you hear me?
We certainly can.
Okay, so just as a little introduction, my name is James Lynch. I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for 20 years. I live about 80 miles north of Manhattan, and that's where I practice. I founded a company called My Court Support. I have a team, and my normal pitch person is on vacation. So they suggested that I challenge myself and do this. So that's what I'm doing. So here we go. So the age-old dilemma of not being able to be in two places at once. For self-employed people, this limits our ability to earn income. Fortunately, traffic court attorneys have found a way around this dilemma. For example, I, as an attorney, may have an obligation today at 3 o'clock, like this Zoom, but someone calls me and has a court appearance today at 3 o'clock across town. Obviously, I can't be there. But what I can do is that I can take that case in and subcontract the case out to another attorney. That attorney goes in my place, and this is a standard practice, and it's called covering. So the attorney that's going for me is the covering attorney. I am the initiating attorney. I will take, for example, for easy math, $500 from that client. and pay the covering attorney $100. So I've just made $400 sitting here talking to you good people doing my pitch. This business model happens every single day, every state throughout the country. So attorneys in this regard for traffic tickets are fungible. When you get a traffic ticket, people really don't care what attorney goes as long as they get a good deal on their case. So this is why this business model works. The problem is finding that covering attorney. So I have a case, I need someone to go and to cover for me. What attorneys have done in the past 20 years is call, text, email people that they trust and to see if they can go for that appearance. And oftentimes it takes time for that attorney to get back to the initiating attorney. Maybe they're off for the day or they just unplugged, they don't want to deal with anything. So you call your first person, you're waiting for a response. It may take a day or two to get that response and you're losing time and money. Also, your staff has to follow up with that, or you have to follow up with that. So My Court Support telephone app solves this problem of trying to find an attorney to cover your case. It dramatically reduces the time someone has to spend finding and covering attorney. So I have an app. I post on the app the date, time, and court appearance that I need coverage, and it broadcasts out to everyone that has the app that I need coverage. The first attorney to go on the app after a push notification and call dibs on that case gets to cover the case. So I've just made money by taking in the case and not going, and the covering attorney has just made money by being able to cover a case that they normally wouldn't have. So, so this is great. We save time, money, and energy, but how do we monetize this? So the app itself uses Stripe to transfer money. So I, as the initiating attorney, will post, for example, $100 as the coverage fee. The covering attorney, once they finish the case and send the results back of the traffic case, Stripe does a transaction. We take a percentage of that transaction, just like PayPal or Venmo. So this feature also saves time and money for the attorneys with regard to accounting and follow up. Sometimes prior to the app, I've had to call attorneys and gently remind them that you owe me some money. So this eliminates that altogether. So this model of the app can be applied to other industries, accountants, baristas, anybody that you can need someone with the skill set to fill in for you. But if you need an attorney for your coverage, My Court Support is the way to go. Thank you.
Wow, what a unique offering. I'm gonna let the judges ask some questions before I make myself incriminate myself, but no, I'm kidding. Let's go ahead and get started with some questions, and I will follow up with a few as well. And so Phil, if we could get you to start off with some comments, questions, and feedback.
Sure. I find the concept fascinating. I have a bunch of questions, and I guess just one comment. And we all interpret things differently, but for me, I think you did a great job with the presentation. I'm a visual kind of guy. If there was a slide or 2 or 3 with it, I think maybe it would have been a little more impactful for me. I could be in the minority, but that's just my visual comment.
I am the idea guy. I'm not the tech guy. So I agree with you. So I didn't want to screw up, having the thing.
Yeah. So I guess my first question is, that came to mind, is what are the parameters of this? Maybe one of the things that I was wondering was, can you go out of state because different states have different laws? Does that play in here, or is that really not an issue?
Well, what we're doing is all we're doing is putting 2 attorneys together. So if there's not an issue with regard to in-state covering in-state, there may be some ethical rules with one state covering another state, but we're not practicing law. We're just connecting 2 people that want to practice law. So if there's an issue with regard to that, it's incumbent upon them to figure that out.
All right. And I guess my other question is, how do you market this, and who do you market this to? Well, I know who you market to, but how do you get your apps the word out?
Sure. So I just got the beta version in my hand last week, so I'm very happy about that. But we're marketing it to two specific type of groups. We're marketing it to new attorneys that don't have their own practice, so who need to go out there and hustle. Those people are going to get extra money by going to court for the initiating attorney. And we're specifically marketing it to very busy attorneys that have too many cases that can't go to these courts. So those who we're marketing it to. We do have, a campaign that's going to be launching in a few weeks about as far as what we're doing for marketing. So,
Great, thanks.
sure.
Great. Thank you, Phil. And Gwendolyn, can we move to you for the next feedback?
Yes, I absolutely love the idea and everything about it. First, because to your point, it allows newer attorneys to build their experience and their caseload. So that's extremely helpful. I do wonder, you mentioned specifically about, say, traffic stops. What other types of offenses or court type of proceedings that you all support?
Sure. So right now we're just focusing on traffic tickets because it's easy and like I said, attorneys are fungible and with that regard. So, but there are applications for other types of law, specifically criminal cases where an attorney just needs to go in and get an adjournment. Nothing is happening in that case, nothing specifically. They just need to go and have essentially a warm body show up and cover the case. This happens in different types of cases, civil cases. Oftentimes attorneys from or big firms from New York City have cases up here, so they'll hire someone up here and they'll appear. So you can just have an appearance to go in and do minimal types of work on criminal case or criminal and civil cases. It's not where I'm hiring and a client is hiring a specific attorney and they want that attorney to show up, for example, like in a divorce or in something that's very specific.
And my last question, and I may have missed it, so my apologies. What are the fees? And so an individual would pay directly into this app?
Yes. So when I post a case, the app asks, what is the fee that you are offering the covering attorney to take? So you can set it at whatever you want, and the app takes a small percentage of that. So there's no extra cost to the initiating attorney. The covering attorney who needs to work or happens to be in that court is going to get a few dollars less, but they're happy because they just made some money for not doing that much. So.
Okay. And James, for your first time pitching your own product, you did a great job.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, it's my second, to be honest, but this is
okay.
Not
all right, we'll take it.
Thanks.
All right, Anne, how about you?
Well, I thought you did a good job pitching too. I could understand everything you were selling, so I think that's a key point.
Sure.
I love the business model. I actually think it's quite innovative, and if you brainstorm, I'm going to guess you can think of a whole bunch of ways this could be applied and make yourself some real big bucks there. So I love the model. I think it's great.
Thank you.
I have a question though. Has anybody ever come back making a comment about the covering attorney? Is there any feedback loop where a covering attorney went and anybody had any issues or concerns? What if the covering attorney didn't provide the kind of service or you weren't satisfied? And I know it's just traffic tickets, right? But I'm just wondering if there is any feedback loop on that or if you've ever heard anything.
Well, we haven't launched yet, so we don't have any feedback.
Okay.
But there will be in further iterations of the app a system to essentially star rate like Uber,
Okay.
the covering attorney. So
right. I mean, you
right.
want to know that the covering, like you might have covering attorneys that are very flexible and you might want to use certain ones more over time, right?
Exactly. There's essentially like like in LinkedIn, first degree, second degree, and third degree.
Right.
I can send it out to my first degree attorneys who I entrust implicitly. And then if they can't cover after 24 hours, then it goes out to a broader network. So the people that I have in my first degree, I trust them covering, taking cases.
Right, that's what I was asking. Do you know that they're going to cover? And it sounds like you have that concept in this tool.
So this is for really, essentially for smaller attorneys or solo practitioners or firms that have just a few attorneys. And in places like upstate New York, we all have a really strong community, so we know each other. And so it's able to go out and send it. But I think the first question is other states. I can post it in another state, and those attorneys may be able to cover if I don't know them.
Right.
Right.
Well, again, I thought it was a great business model.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, I do see a couple questions here. Let me go ahead and mention them. Is the product marketed only to lawyers who need the coverage? Are there thoughts about opening up to a consumer like an Uber for court?
Yes, that's once assuming that we actually launch this and it gets going, then that is what's going to happen. Yes. So we will market it to clients who can search for attorneys to cover their, to go to court for them.
Okay.
Yep.
And another question is, what would be the vetting process for an attorney that wants to apply to be on your app? Or what is that onboarding, selection, acceptance? What does that look like?
Excellent. So each state has their own requirements and own bar admittance. But for New York purposes, and that's where we're launching, is that, everyone has, in New York State has a website. So you have to be barred and approved, and all of your information is on that. So the initial vetting is just making sure that they're in good standing, that there's no crazy disciplinary actions, public disciplinary actions against them, and that they have a valid identification number, license number. But once the app is in production, there'll be further vetting as far as that's concerned. But when we launch, I have about 90 attorneys that I've worked with, so they're going to be the beta testers. So I know them, and I know that they're okay.
So you actually, in that last comment, touched on the three questions that I had for this. So one, how many attorneys? So you just answered that. And obviously there's got to be the beta test or the test base, and then it'll grow from there. So you just answered that. And when are you planning on launching, if you do launch?
Yeah, so we got the first round back from the developer last week. We went through and did our own testing. So he's doing the corrections now. So I think in about 2 weeks, we should have a fully workable app. And so that would be in July. So towards the end of July, we're going to do a full campaign.
Well, that's exciting. If you need somebody to take a look at it, let me know. I'm happy to provide some feedback on the platform as well. And then the very last question I had is, and I think you answered it, and I just didn't categorize it correctly, but like a rating system. So it's a case gets resolved, the result gets reported, monies get transferred, and so forth. Is there a way to for lawyers to be rated on performance, or by the other lawyers that accepted it, or how does that work? Is there any kind of rating system?
Yes, there is. So for example, if an attorney agrees to cover the case and don't show up because they're doing something else, the initiating attorney can make a comment about that and have a star system for that. And for when it is opened up for clients to contact attorneys, they'll be able to rate the attorneys as well. So.
Perfect. And they got to be careful how they rate. It can always turn back against you. So awesome. Well, this is wonderful. That's all the questions that I see right now. So James, thank you for presenting. Definitely appreciate your time. And if you could stay tuned for just a little bit while for the final feedback. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so now I'd like to go to the third and final for this first hour, but not least, of course. So I would like to invite Allegra to join us with XX Artists, and please get started.
Thanks, Greg. I really appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen once someone gives me approval.
Jesse, you got that? There you go.
Okay. Let me know if you cannot see this.
It looks good. We can see
Okay,
it.
great. So thank you so much for having me today. Just to introduce myself, I'm Nglcc Hussey. I'm the Vice President of Business Development over here at XX Artists. Just to give you some quick background, we are a digital marketing agency that works with brands and talent. So typically we'd be doing this for a discovery call, for any new prospects or just any type of proposal, new business proposal. Traditionally, it's going to be myself or someone else from the business development department who runs these. So we'll go over who we are, what we do, and who we do it with. So very excited to start going. Okay. Did that work? Yeah, right? Okay. So we are XX Artists. We were founded about 6 years ago by our founder and CEO, Kyle Coons. You know, he had a real goal of creating community through content and how we see that come to life with all of our clients. We not only want to talk about the change, but we want to be that change. And that's what we try to do every single day. So, you know, I do these calls literally every single day. So I know there are so many other social media agencies out there, and I truly believe that what makes us stand out are the people at this company. How that comes to life is that we're majority female, majority diverse by race and orientation, and 36% LGBTQ identifying. You know, I just think it's these statistics that really make us stand out and make us so special. On the side, you'll also see some just incredible accolades we've garnered over the past couple of years. That makes it so easy for me to brag about my colleagues. So from being named one of Ad Age's best places to work, our nominee for a Shorty Award, our nominee for a Webby Award last year, and finally being notified as an Nglcc certified business enterprise. This slide just makes me incredibly happy to work at such a fabulous company. Next, we'll go into a little bit of our core values. So first and foremost, best in class service. We are an extension of our clients' teams, and we want to be in it with them every single day. As you can tell, inclusivity and diversity is incredibly important to us, not only in the people that make up this company, but in the products that we produce. And finally, digital first thinking. So what is digital first thinking? We have an incredible director of trends named Amanda Brennan, who likes to say that we all have our own weird corners of the internet. So my internet is going to be very different from Greg's internet. It's going to be very different from Bill's internet. And we like to bring that unique perspective on social to all of our clients. As far as what we do, this is really how we view the life cycle of how we interact with our clients every day. So first, we're kicking off with strategy. We're building that roadmap for our clients that comes to life in creative strategy and data and analytics, even starting to build out that voice playbook, then diving into management. And that's really just what we're doing and how we're doing it every single day. So that's taking control of it all, whether it's platform management, audience engagement, day-to-day communication. At this point, we're in it and we're ready to go. Then we have an incredible integrated marketing team. Really, that's just influencer marketing. So if it's talent procurement, negotiation, gifting, that's all things that we can handle. Also experiential, more and more, you know, the world is opening up. So we were at Coachella very recently. This weekend, we're at VidCon. So that's a really fun sort of category that we're seeing come to life more and more. Then our creative teams, we have about a third of our team is creative. They're just so insanely talented, whether it's AR filters, 3D animation, pre-production and post-production. They make me look really good. So we're so lucky to have them. Then as far as some of the incredible clients we get to work with every single day across brand and talent, you know, whether it's the amazing work we're doing for Kung Fu Panda and DreamWorks, or the work behind Google sustainability, or even launching shorts with YouTube Shorts. You know, our brand team is really talented and very busy. And then, you know, just calling out some of these incredible talent clients as well. So whether it's Red Hot Chili Peppers or working on Kerry Washington's YouTube channel, original series, The Street You Grew Up On, or my personal favorite, Michael Bublé. This is just a snapshot of some amazing caliber of clients that we have the pleasure of working with all the time. And so with that, I typically break for questions. In this case, we'll break for feedback.
Awesome. Thank you, Allegra. Those are some pretty big brand names. I'm going to let the judges ask some questions and provide some feedback, but I'd love to hear about at the end some of the award nominations that whether the awards you've received or nominations and what they were used for. But let's go ahead and start with some of the judges first. And Gwendolyn, I'm going to start with you.
Sounds good. Well, great job, Allegra. Love what your group is doing. Love when people come together to help to move our social consciousness, because that's basically when they're at the forefront of it. I do have one question for you. You do have a lineup of very impressive folks, clients that you're working with now. How do you obtain these clients, and what type of work do you do for them?
Yeah, great question. So for brand clients, we, again, not to toot our own horn, but I think we have a pretty incredible reputation. Kyle, our founder and CEO, who I mentioned earlier, really got into YouTube at a time that was sort of ripe for collaboration. So that he's been working with YouTube, and they're our longest standing client. With all other business, whether it's referral or just outreach, as business development, we're going as far as doing cold outreach or just any sort of general connections. And we use a lot of our Rolodexes, if you will, Rolodexes, right? So, just trying to get our word out there, just natural press, organic press. As far as the talent clients go, a lot of us have traditional entertainment backgrounds. So last year, the business development team spent about 6-7 months doing a roadshow where we're doing meet and greets with agents and managers and publicists. Again, just to get sort of word of mouth out there, so people became more familiar with us every day. I would say, sort of like in layman's terms, we're running brands and talent social. So whether it's Google Sustainability, which is a client I mentioned, or Kung Fu Panda, we're running that social across the platforms that they're available, whether it's Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. Same for talent. The only difference is talent, it's typically just an individual. Brie Larson's a client of ours. We're handling her YouTube channel, where Ancestry, we're handling their YouTube channel as a brand. I hope that answered your question.
You did. And one follow-up question. So what is your goal to pitch into this audience?
Yeah, I think just general feedback. This is definitely not a traditional room that we would get to pitch in front of. Like I mentioned, it's people that we're pitching for talent, they've heard of us. So at that point, it's sort of just like we're entering a friendly room. We're never really going to get crazy feedback. It's always just like, let's talk business. And I'd say same for brand. I think as we continue to grow as an organization, when I started 2 years ago, we were 30 people. Now we're 120 from Los Angeles to London. What does it look like to expand into new verticals that could see expansion as a company, and keeping that growth mindset in everything that we do?
Right. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, Anne, can we move to you next?
Sure. I thought you had a very impressive group of clients.
Thank you.
Good for you guys. And I love the way you put it up there. I think that's great. Ad Age said best places to work. Talk to me about why you guys are one of the best places to work.
That's honestly one of probably my favorite awards that we've received. And I know I'm in sales, right? So, people can say take what I say with a grain of salt, but I mean it wholeheartedly that this is the best company that I've ever worked at. And it's not just me who feels this way. It's our culture. Our chief of staff and our CEO have spent so much time, especially when we saw all of this growth during a pandemic when, we weren't in person. We have people in Puerto Rico and in Tennessee and all over. So how do you create culture when everything's so virtual? We just have an incredible onboarding program. Our teams work together all day, every day. We really take feedback, burnout, just general things that maybe deter people from joining a company so seriously that it's just created this environment that is just so welcoming. Whether it's every year, once a year at the end of the year, we all get together. Last year, 100 and however many there was of us last in December, all got together in Ojai and had an incredible offsite, just these cultural moments that we can really relish. And I do think also that people believe in the work that we're doing for the company. I mean, listen, we're not curing cancer, but it's fun. We have fun while we're doing it. And as business development, we really take what people feel about our clients into consideration. We've said no to clients who've come our way. We're not crisis social media. And so we want people to feel stoked for the work that they're doing, regardless of who it is.
So the fact that people enjoy working there translates into what they do, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that, in that specific award, I think it was like anonymous. Everyone, if they wanted to, could fill out why they enjoyed working at XX. And at the time, again, we were a small company, so I think it was 50 people and under, and we got that award. And yeah, I think that, I've worked at a lot of companies that maybe don't feel this way. I think people just love it. I think they feel excited about the work they're doing, and it's incredibly inclusive. And not a lot of companies are. You feel companies being forced to do that, and it's just always who we've been.
Okay, well, I think that positivity comes through.
Great.
I would agree with that, and that's a great comment. Definitely feel it. And Phil, how about you round this up?
Yeah, I mean, very, very impressive. And, you said you're a salesperson. Well, I've listened to sales pitch where I want to run for the door. This was the exact opposite. Your exuberance and excitement made me excited about it. Everything about it was great. And all I kept thinking was, oh my God, if you walked into Shark Tank, the Sharks would love you. So kudos to you. And my only real question, I'm really curious because, again, the obvious is your impressive list of customers. How long does it take to build this? And I think you kind of answered it, because I was also thinking you must be located in some entertainment area. And Ojai, I think, I mean, I'm from Boston, so I'm on the East Coast, but that's California, and I would assume you're California based now?
Yeah, so our headquarters are in Playa Vista, which is just outside of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. We definitely have close entertainment ties. Myself specifically, I come from a traditional entertainment background, so I used to work at talent agencies and work directly with celebrities. So we definitely know the right people, I guess, if you will. I would say our hiring team just does an incredible job of hiring. So we get not only diverse perspectives that interact and affect who we are as a company, but just opportunities to meet amazing clients. As someone in business development, I spend a lot of time sort of analyzing what business comes in, if it's referral or if it's cold outreach. Our numbers are pretty incredible in terms of like 75 plus are referral based. And it's just, again, I do this all the time. And I would say 90% of the clients who do sign on say that what tipped us over the edge are the people. I've been in similar rooms that make me miserable. So it's my goal to always come in and make it really warm and really inviting. And that's just, it's how everyone is. We never want a client to be like, ugh, I have to call XX artist about this. They're like, great, I get to call Allegra and talk about this money increase, but I also get to ask her what TV show she's watching. So I think it's just a lot of who we are that sort of helps both. I hope that answered your question. I kind of went all over the place.
Yeah, nope, that's great. And again, your authenticity shines through.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And let me just mention a question in the chat here. Do you represent brands of any size?
Yes. Sort of going back to what I was saying, we want to represent companies that our employees are excited to represent. And so in our business development team, we have an ideal client profile. And within that, we take a lot of things into consideration, like, do they have the right ethos? Would we be proud to represent them? I think that we always make exceptions. We are currently working with one startup, but it changes pretty much every quarter. So yeah, it doesn't matter the size. I think if we're excited, why not have the opportunity to grow with a smaller company?
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Allegra. I did have a few questions, but for the most part, they did get answered. And now you have three other talents here from Gwendolyn, Ann, and Phil that you might want to sign on as well. But,
Come on over, guys.
but thank you so much for presenting today. And again, as it was said, for your energy that you bring to this company that you represent and do so well with. So congratulations on all the successes. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
You're welcome. So before we go into about a 5-minute break, I would just like to ask all the judges here. Well, so first of all, for all those listening, for the next segment, we actually only have 2 more suppliers for the second part. So it won't be going as long. So we will take a 5-minute break here in a minute. But for the judges, could you provide any last-minute comments for what you have observed so far today with the 3 presenters that we have? And you could speak, any one of you at first.
I can jump in. So first off, great job by everyone. Just when you think that you've run out of ideas or innovations or things that could be done differently, you then come to something like this and you discover that there's so many other things that can happen. So I love the fact that we're giving the opportunities to attorneys to be able to gain billable hours, so to speak, and experiences, and then help people out with their traffic. Not to say that I need it, wink, wink, but you know, some people need it. In addition to that, you know, just the brand and helping people build brand through social media and the ways that they're doing that in such a diverse culture, which means that they're driving innovation every single day. And then not to mention, you know, a LinkedIn that is LGBTQ plus friendly, like who would have thought? And I think it's amazing. So, you know, looking forward to seeing these in the bigger lights, so to speak, in the future.
Yes, thank you. Ann or Phil, any closing comments for this first hour and 3 presenters?
I mean, just very briefly, I was impressed by all 3, and each one brought their own unique proposition to the table. I don't know if you guys did that on purpose to make this really exciting, or that we just lucked out, but everyone has its own unique abilities, which I think is great. You're on mute, Ann.
I do that all the time. All 3 of them are well positioned for success. And the fact that they're willing to come to an event like this and get feedback just shows you those are the people that will be successful because they want the feedback. But all 3 of them were really innovative and gave good presentations today. And I didn't think of some of these business models. I thought they were fascinating.
I agree a million times over. I think, and Phil, you just said this too, this really goes to show the value of looking or listening to diverse businesses. These small businesses, they have such unique offerings, things that you would have never thought of before. And they're so nimble as well that they could probably go in a direction to possibly support some of the work you do need that you maybe didn't think of or whatever. So this is such a prime example of why it's so good as a buyer or a business influencer to listen to such things, whether it's for your own company's needs or for the networks, because now you all might be talking to somebody, hey, by the way, I just learned of a company that you might be able to work with. So this is really just the prime example of that. So I agree. So what we're going to do now, it is 4 minutes after the hour. Let's go ahead and take a 6-minute break, whether bio break or whatever. This is sip and pitch as well. So if anybody is inclined to get that sip started as well, feel free to do that. Don't be shy. I might even do that thanks to our friends at Bud Light that supplied us with some really cool bottles. But anyway, so let's come back in about 6 minutes from now, which will be 10 minutes after the hour, and we'll get started with the next batch of presenters. Thank you. All right, we are back. That was the fastest 6 minutes ever. So welcome everyone to Sip and Pitch. For those of you that may not have been here for the first hour of today's event. And again, happy Pride to all of our friends. My name is Greg Schimber. I am the Vice President of Corporate Relations with Nglcc, and my pronouns are he and him. And before I get into some introductions here, I would certainly like to mention that we have an exciting event coming up in just about 5 weeks from now, and that is the Nglcc International Business Convention or Conference. And this is being held August 2nd through the 5th at the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas. We are celebrating our 20-year anniversary this year. So this is going to be probably our biggest event that we've had. So if you have the opportunity to join us, please do. You can visit us at nglcc.org/nglcc22. We already have a huge lineup of programming, entertainment, networking opportunities. So we hope to see you there. So to get started with the second part of today's Sip and Pitch, I would like to start by welcoming and thanking the sponsor for today's Sip and Pitch, and that is John Hancock. And so the three judges that we have today actually represent John Hancock, and that is Gwendolyn McCoy, Anne Langlois, and Phil Hirsch. And before we get started, if I could get each of them to say a quick hello, a quick introduction of yourself, and then we will get started. And let's go ahead and start with you, Gwendolyn.
Good afternoon, everyone. And for those of you who were on before, please excuse the repetition. I'm so happy to be here. Happy to be here on a number of fronts. First, I lead the U.S. DEI Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion efforts for John Hancock, but I'm also an entrepreneur. So I have a flower business. So I have a passion for those who are trying to start their own and to build something that they've always dreamed and envisioned. So happy to be here.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. And we will move to Anne.
Hi, everyone. Anne Langlois. I work for John Hancock in the procurement organization. Been there about 9 years. And I, too, am thrilled and honored to be here today.
Thank you. And we are as well. And my good friend, Phil.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting us to the table. I am actually responsible for our supplier diversity program. I reside in procurement, as does Anne. And I've been with the company. I'm on my 22nd year. So that tells you it's a good company. The last session that we had was terrific, and I expect the same.
Wonderful, thank you. And it sounds like we might even get a second opinion from you in the background there, which we also welcome very much.
Sorry about that.
No, that's wonderful. We love our friends like that. So, all right. So to get kicked off here, let me just go over the rules and guidelines for the Sip and Pitch. So each company presenting will have 5 minutes to pitch, and you will only have one presenter from each represented company. The three judges that we have here will have 10 minutes of feedback collectively for feedback and questions and answers. And then if for those that are presenting, if you don't have a presentation, that is no problem. This is designed to be a platform that is informal to allow you to practice your pitch and receive real-time feedback on your pitch and what you are offering. So if any of you are not speaking, though, please do mute your microphone so that there is no background noise. And then Team Nglcc will provide warnings 1 minute in or before you were to finish your pitch, and then again at 30 seconds. It is a little chime that you will hear. Jesse, if you could just say a quick hello. Oh. Jesse got excited.
Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. My name's Jessie and I work at Nglcc, and today I am the timer. So apologies in advance that you'll hear me say 1 minute and 30 seconds when the time comes while you're pitching.
Perfect. And we thank you for that support. So, and then this is last and most important, this is a judgment-free zone. This is designed to help you enhance your pitch and grow your company. So the feedback shared is in good spirit or in the spirit of collaboration. And for those of you that are participating silently, don't be so silent in the comment section. Feel free to leave any comments, advice, feedback, anything that you may have for those presented, because it is helpful to everyone. And then, of course, most of all, let's have some fun. So for this second portion of Sip and Pitch, we have two different businesses that will be pitching, both Jennifer Polachek with Jennifer Polachek Coaching, and then Massimo Dalbervik, sorry, with Massimo Wines LLC. So to get started, Jennifer, do we have you online to kick it off?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Very clearly, thank you. We'll let you go ahead and take it from here.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Gwendolyn and Phil and Anne. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say thank you. We're really grateful that you're here and providing your professional feedback, and also for all the work you do in DEI. I have had a cold all week, so if I start sneezing, just go with it. I think I need Greg's t-shirt today.
We support you.
Thank you, Greg. Let me start by telling you about one of my clients, Catherine. Catherine is a brilliant technical accountant. And when I met her, she was a senior manager at one of the Big Four accounting firms. Now, she wanted more than anything to rise to the level of partner. But some things were standing in her way, specifically around her leadership skills. So this firm brought me in to work with her, to coach her, and where appropriate, to do some training around leadership and communications. And today she is a partner. As you know, my name is Jennifer Polachek, and I'm an executive coach specifically for technical professionals. And that can be people in finance and accounting, IT, biotech. And I specifically support women and diverse professionals. I want to help them rise in their careers. And I want to help companies support their own DEI efforts. The thing is, with technical professionals, very few of them they don't get the leadership and communication skills to become effective leaders. And so regardless of their backgrounds, they probably need some coaching and some training in order to smoothly transition into leadership roles. As for myself, I have worked in leadership and communications training and coaching since 2007. I only use evidence-based strategies because, like you and like your technical employees, I only respect techniques and tools that have been proven to be effective. I've received the highest certification from the Neuro Leadership Institute, and I base all of my coaching on neuroscience-based techniques. I also use assessments, primarily the Trimetrics DNA, which measures work styles, motivations, and competencies. This assessment is backed up by 30 years of research and robust independent validation processes. And what I like about that is it helps us identify where are the development areas, but also just what is your work style and how do you shift that in order to manage others effectively. As appropriate, I use the Positive Intelligence Program. The Positive Intelligence Program uses neuroscience to rewire the brain away from those inner obstacles or inner saboteurs and towards the part of the brain that is about innovation and empathy and how to navigate obstacles and take effective action. Of course, all of this is based on emotional intelligence. Not much can be achieved in leadership and communications development without a foundation of emotional and social intelligence. Technical professionals are well educated and very experienced. They're your subject matter experts. Like another client of mine, Manuel. Manuel was an executive director in finance at a marketing data analysis firm. Because of his IT and finance skills, his company wanted to promote him but they felt he was really hampered by this lack of leadership and communication skills. The company brought me in, and after our work together, Manuel is now being promoted to vice president. Few technical professionals of any background have the leadership training and skills to transition smoothly to leadership roles. So let me help your company accelerate your DEI efforts through executive coaching and training for your up and coming diverse professionals. Let me help you empower them to become the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you.
Oh boy, this is an amazing way to get started. So Phil, I'm going to let you stop me from starting.
So great presentation. When you started, I'm like, okay, so when you started with the neuroscience, I'm like, this is way above my pay grade, but I wasn't questioning anything. It all makes sense. It sounds, I guess it's good when people internalize and equate to something that they can relate to. So as you were talking, I'm a real dog guy. It's a passion of mine. All I could think of was the training of a dog, and the only way to do it is compassion, and rather than putting the stick down. And it sounds like that's kind of what you buy into as well, which I love.
And I
my
like,
only real, yeah.
I like
Go
what you're
ahead.
saying, because in a way, this was pitched towards maybe like the managers of a technical department or I realize now that this was all towards a more technical audience. And I have to keep in mind that people in L&D or DEI may not necessarily be the technical folks. So
Right.
dropping
But I
words like
think
neuroscience may not mean as much.
Yeah. But you didn't just drop the words and leave. To me, I felt like I knew what you clarified it. You made it seem clear. I guess my only question is, how many customers do you have
right now?
Well, I mean, I guess just give me an idea of the scope of what the company is doing right now. I'm just curious, because it seems like this would be something that people would really be attracted to.
Thank you. Yes. I've been in the past, pre-COVID, I was working pretty much subcontracting my work through another company that was working with the Big Four. We did a lot of stuff in finance. It's always been a specialty of mine to work with technical professionals. And so it was really a fit. But, all that disappeared. All that work disappeared during COVID. And so it's come back now, but I'm really interested in expanding my client base. And I already have. I guess the question for me, as I listen to other folks and think about my new membership in Nglcc, is as a solopreneur who is not at this time thinking of scaling up and hiring other coaches or trainers to work for me, is this too big a reach to, let's say, pitch a John Hancock and say, hey, do you have individuals that you want coaching, who fit in this category? Is that too big a stretch as a solopreneur? What do you think?
So, I mean, not my field of expertise, but I do know that we coach our executives, and no matter how good your staff is at a certain level, coaching is a good thing. So I can see what you're doing be applied. I actually would think it would be awesome if what you're doing was applied to like a John Hancock community.
Okay, cool. Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would concur, even though I'm not with John Hancock. I think any organization, there are so many that do have executive development programs, mentoring, regardless of how long you've been in a leadership role. Times change, things change, industries change. And so I could see this as a very relevant piece, regardless of the size of the company. And I know that you mentioned those like manager level and so forth moving up, but I could certainly see that. So yeah. Anne, would you like to go next? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, I'll get this eventually. I like the fact that you gave the examples of Catherine and then Manuel, the people you actually coached and that you had success. I think that makes it real for people. As you were talking, I was thinking through my career, I know exactly the type of person you're talking about, who's a great subject matter expert. Like I can picture your clientele very clearly. And I think every company has those people who are subject matter experts and you're great at what they do, but maybe they need a little coaching to think a little bit more broadly and differently as leaders. So I think that it's not a stretch at all for you to go to a company like John Hancock or any other company, because those people exist and they deserve to have the greater roles. They just need to have someone who can help them to get there. And I think that, you know, again, every company has those types of professionals. I was thinking of all the names of the ones I've worked with, and they would have just loved working with you and benefiting from what you do. And I'd also like to know just a bit more about your positive intelligence program and how that helps some of these folks.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you for asking that. I love the PQ program. Basically, it's a 6-week program of, and there's a book called Positive Intelligence, which is right there. There's videos for the first 6 weeks. The most impactful part of the program, though, is that you do about 4 2-minute exercises a day, 2 minutes. And what happens is they're basically their mindfulness exercises. And what they do is they do the rewiring that I was talking about. They've done MRIs before and after. And basically the exercises decrease the volume of gray matter in the part of the brain that has your saboteurs, right? The negative voices, the self-judging, and they increase the gray matter in the sage area of the brain, which is about the innovation and the empathy. It's had a huge impact on my life, which I probably don't have time to go into. My enthusiasm can run away with me. But yeah, that program has been extraordinary on all levels for me personally and for my clients, to where they're handling stress at work better, they're making clearer decisions, their innovative ideas are coming more quickly. So yeah, it has a big impact, but it takes a commitment. It seems like 4 times a day for 2 minutes is no big deal, but everybody gets caught up, right? Don't we all get caught up in the daily grind? And so, yeah, people have to be willing to stop and take those 2 minutes. But if they do, it has a huge impact.
Amazing.
That was great.
Gwendolyn?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Gwendolyn?
So Jennifer, great job with your presentation. Just to echo what Ann says in terms of your storytelling, I see, if you haven't already done this, a TED Talk in your future. So just think about, tying all this together, putting it in a TED Talk, because I think that will be impactful for those you can't reach as a solopreneur. You'll be able to reach a broader audience. So I wanted to put that out there. You actually answered one of my questions already, which is how scalable it is, but you are one human being. So I know it's not that scalable, but that's fine too. That's fine too. And what I would say to add to what Phil says, at John Hancock, there are not just one coaches, there are a series of coaches. So you could, as a solopreneur, potentially be one of the many coaches that we have.
Wow. Cool. How does that work? May I ask?
So that's a good question that one of my HR colleagues will be able to tell me. So as long as we have your information, I can follow up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Gwendolyn, thank you for that comment. The TED Talks comment, I certainly agree. And I had to say, Jennifer, if you make it to our conference or any other time, I would love to hear your personal story as well. You left that little bit of a kind of like a trailer. And the reason why I say that is I think you really started off well, and midway through, you were providing some real people, some real examples. And I think that's very helpful in helping folks understand what are you talking about when you start. You're talking about neuroscience-based topic or techniques and the positive intelligence. I think that's great, but that really helps maybe land some of those bingo balls flying all over the place and hearing those examples. But then there's that personal experience. I would love to hear at some point personally, what have those experiences been for yourself? How did it change your life? Because I think we can all relate in a way. And then you talk about the, excuse me, 4 2-minute exercises a day. It is a lot after you do it, maybe 4 or 5 days, and life is there. But when you start hearing somebody's personal experience, it's like, okay, suck it up. That is, you're only asking for, 8 minutes of time throughout your day or whatever. So I think those are good driving factors. So I really appreciate your presentation. But the last thing I want to say, your very calm demeanor, your pace for which you spoke was very even paced. It was easy to understand, and it was calming to where I wanted to just keep digesting what you're saying. So I think your presentation was really well on that. So
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you so much for presenting today.
Yeah. Can I ask a quick question? Do we have
Yep.
time? So in terms of sharing personal stories, I have 2 questions. Actually, it's two questions. One is, like, sometimes people want to know more about me, like, how did you get into coaching technical people? And what they're expecting is that I have a technical background. In fact, I'm an artist. I'm a theater artist, and I fell in love with science. And so everything that I write has scientific themes in it. And I realized that I have a talent for translating technical material into a theatrical environment. And that's where I started, with being able to understand and then help translate technical folks, and then layered in the leadership things on top of it. Does my background in the arts make me less credible? And I know this is a prejudice that some people hold, but I need to know, how far reaching is that prejudice?
I would love to start with this, and then I'll let the judges answer. I think it's incredibly credible because you're using science-based information for your techniques, for your approach and delivery and all of that. So you're basing on something, but I think maybe that's what's so appealing is how to put it in more humanistic terms, understanding. So maybe that's your creative side, your theatrical background. And I think that really relates. So, I mean, you can start with that and then prove anybody wrong that wants to maybe discredit the theatrical part of it. But I think that really puts a nice, well-rounded kind of view as how do you approach things and where does your mind go and how can you connect with somebody. So that's just my personal opinion. Any of the judges, if you would like to chime in on that question.
I would like to chime in. So it's interesting when I think about being a DEI practitioner and the journey that I've taken. I worked in operations, and I worked in service, and I worked in tech as well. And so what I have managed to do is take my creativity to get the message across to these various audiences, which goes back to my TED Talk pitch that I have for you, because when you're able to have people resonate with what they're doing and marry it with science and letting folks know it's okay, this is normal, that is so extremely helpful.
Cool, thank you.
All right. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate the pitch, and I certainly hope to hear more from you. And again, I mean it. Hopefully we can meet in person sometime soon as well. So thank you. All right. So for the last one for the day, but definitely not least, Massimo Dubrovic is here with Massimo Wines LLC. I am super excited to hear about this pitch and the products and so forth. So Massimo, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. And Jesse, if you could be sure to provide co-hosting capability so Massimo could present his slides.
Absolutely, yes.
There you go. You are set.
And so I just want to say a happy Pride to everybody. Absolutely. And are you able to see my screen right now?
Not yet. Oh, here it comes.
Right now, yeah?
We can. Yep.
Yes. Okay, beautiful. Great. Well, happy Pride to everybody. I'm sorry I'm wearing my glasses, but I have a really bad allergy. And so my apologies, but my eyes are really so red. So I had to read everything in red, including my glasses. Okay. Well, so Massimo Wines started 3 years ago, but we only received the licenses in November 2019. So we were only operational for 4 months only. This is a company, it's the first LGBTQ company where we strongly believe to bring the most indigenous and only 100% natural wine from the region of Easter, which contains the Italian and Croatia. All three of those regions are present there, or the countries are present there. Now, pandemic, we have only been open for 4 months, basically. Basically, we are starting everything from scratch. Okay, so that's the thing that. We expanded, other than being only importing wine, beer, and spirits, and distributing on a federal level as well as on a California level to a single consumer, because we are a wholesale company. So we distribute to restaurants, the stores, and we can also sell to a single consumer online through our e-commerce shop, MassimoWinesClub.com. Because of that thing, we only import 100% wines that are from indigenous grapes 3,000 to 500 years ago to 100 years ago and so on. This is a family company that I brought it to international because I really thought that the wines were spectacular. We don't do blends. The spirits that we do, they're all made within the family factory spirits. And we also do the beers, which are craft beers. And we also offer a beer resort experience for somebody who wants to travel to Croatia, Italy, or Slovenia on the coast of the Adriatic coast. Now we also offer corporate retreats for big families that want to go there, or for families or corporate retreats. And we also offer all kinds of packages for artists that want to go to explore film festival, or painters and all kinds. So Massimo Wines expanded from just being an import company of alcohol and beer, wine, and spirits, and distributor, to also offering entire packages of retreats. You can get a craft beer massage, you can get a golden beer resort, you can get one of the most sophisticated 5-star plus wine experience hotels. And so we combine many different experiences. We have supported the Los Angeles Hospital here in Los Angeles. We supported the Gallic Awards, which is the LGBTQ Film and TV Critics' Choice Awards. We support also the Asian Film Festival here in Los Angeles, and many other organizations. Now, Massimo Wines is also expanded because we truly believe that we need to give an opportunity to all the Massimo Wines Club member every month to participate to a cultural event. So what have we done? So during the year, with the ones that become members, they get a chance to participate in one cultural event that we do throughout the city of LA. We usually pick one of the buildings that are run down, or their ex-factories or gas stations that are run down, that were harmful for the environment before, and now we transform them in something that is beneficial for the environment. So before, because of the CO2 emissions and because of the pollution they were creating, or of coal or CO2 or any kind of environmental damage, those same places are now beneficial for the environment. We are transforming places that have been, either they are like run down or they're in disuse, and we transform them into multimedia cultural centers, most of them in East LA, South LA, but we'd love to expand it throughout the entire North American continent. Now, what we do is we present a different art every month. One month can be a video game art, the other one is a painter, then it's a ballet, then it's opera, then it's a theater, it's a movie, it's a TV. And so we're doing this art presentation. Our club members and also people that just want to come and enjoy the Multimedia Arts Center could come and try all the wines. So it's like a wine tasting room as well. It's a wine tasting facility as well, or experience as the same experience the art form of that month. Of course, we do have an opening day when all the members comes and all the VIPs and everything else. But other than that one day, that specific art is presented at the Multimedia Cultural Center of that month through the entire month. So it's also an experience, and all these LGBTQ artists, all the people that are LGBTQ, and we are just trying to really build this concept of building the arts with a beverage in America. So we also, this is a presentation that the reason why I'm presenting this is because, as I told you, we're starting from scratch. So we're still looking for funding, and this is where we are right now. We're a startup company. You know, we're only operational 4 months before we went on to a full pandemic. That's why you're going to see in this presentation market dimensions, predictions, and all that stuff, because we are looking to be fully reopened still. So we didn't still ship a single inventory of beer, wine, spirits from Europe to here to the port of Long Beach, which is where we have the warehouse. Yet, since the pandemic started, basically, our last shipment was in 2020. So this is, we're trying to restart this company. These are like market predictions that we came up with, like the cost of the bottles and so on. So our presentation today is more oriented of really trying to find the funding for the company so the company could really survive on this idea that I just explained, on this model idea, which is combining the arts with the alcohol industry and really bring some prestige to the alcohol industry in general in America, really understanding that there is a different way we can perceive alcohol here. There is a way that it could be beneficial, that it's a more of a wellness, of a well-being way. Because craft beers and wines done in a natural way, no filters, no additives, no sulfates, vegan 100%, 100% natural. They're great for your health. We in Italy, we grew up drinking wine since we are 10 years old. So, it's kind of our culture. Varieties that we represent right now, spumante, they're all indigenous varieties. They all come from the region of Istria, which blend the 3 countries of Slovenia, Croatia, and Italy, like I told you, on the North Adriatic coast. These are the strategic partnership that we have. So we have all the licenses, like I told you. We are currently present in 7 restaurants right now in South California. We are looking to expand, of course. This is what we are developing next. Like I told you, like we are trying to look to expand into other markets other than SoCal, where we are present right now. So our next objective is Las Vegas, and I hope I will see you for our big event of the 20-year celebration there. And then really going to Seattle and New York City, Florida, Chicago, Minneapolis. Those are the kind of the primary of cities that we want to hit in this year, hopefully. We are looking to develop an online platform, an online marketing strategy, and maybe pair up with companies like XX Vision and other ones. It would be a wonderful combination for us, or something similar to this extent, because we really are just starting out with this concept. And
Massimo,
the experimental testing groups I already explained. Excuse me.
And it looks like we are out of time. So if you want to finish your last thought on this one.
You can catch the rest of my Advocate magazine, is the interview. So if you don't have you can catch the rest of the presentation.
Okay. All right. There was a little bit of a technical breakup there at the very end there. So I apologize for not hearing that part. But Massimo, thank you so much for presenting all of this. You have so much information, and I think that we could probably go on a long time, and I would love to hear more about this, especially as you're looking to essentially relaunch again. But let me go ahead and go into some questions and feedback from our judges today. And Gwendolyn, I believe you may need to be signing off here in just a moment. So I'm going to start with you to provide some feedback.
Sounds good. Great product, Massimo, particularly for a sip and pitch. What I would recommend for presentations like these, that you potentially scale it back. I heard some really great nuggets, but they were buried in a lot of presentation. Would love to have you focus, particularly for this audience, on how you work so closely with the LGBTQ plus community and support creatives. So that would be my thoughts around that. But thank you, great presentation.
Thank you, Gwendolyn.
Thank you so
And
much. A small connection option.
I'm sorry?
I had a small connection interruption. I just came back. For some reason, the connection came back.
Okay. I'm not sure where you may have, the connection may have broke. Let me go ahead and go on to Anne for some feedback or questions.
Yeah, there was a lot of information there, but what I do think is that coming out of the pandemic, people will be interested in like experiential type of activities. So this is something that, could interest people. They've been in the house for a few years now, and, experiential types of activities could draw, I think, attention. I would say there was a lot of information there, and I would go back and look at your operating expenses and make sure that, they are in line with the sales growth that you're experiencing. So you have some nice sales growth there, but I don't see the expenses, changing as a result of any of the sales growth. But I did think the concept of wrapping in all of these experiences is something that I think could sell at this point in time. And I'll be curious to see how it works for you.
Thank you. And Phil.
Questions, but those are my thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually echo all three of you that just spoke. So there was a lot of content. I think it definitely paring it down. The pieces that I think are worth really concentrating on, one Anne touched upon, was the experience that caught my ear, and it makes it a unique experience. And also the part about the no chemicals, and I mean the sustainability. So those were the two kind of overarching themes that I think if you stuck to that would be most effective.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil. And if I could, I'd love to just comment on a couple things, but also ask a question, Massimo. So I love how you thought through everything. So you're talking about the wholesale aspect of it, and really what type of these beer, wine, spirits that you're representing and why, and then the sustainable. I mean, that is really great. Then there's the excursion. Oh, looks like Massimo, you with us? Massimo, can you hear us?
We may have lost him.
For some reason, right after I finished the presentation, the connection starts. I don't know where is the glitch. I apologize about this. It doesn't seem to be glitch on my line, but as soon as I finished the presentation, bum, this started this glitch coming in. I apologize about this.
That's okay. We're in a virtual world, and if you don't have technical difficulties, something's wrong. As opposed to going back to all the feedback, I'll just kind of finish by saying, you have some great offerings here, and there is a lot that you have. And so I really think pinpointing who the audience is that you are trying to hit will make a big difference, whether it's additional investors or from the excursions and experience side and the wholesale. I know that would trim down the presentation and focus more on some of those details, but I know that you are trying to cover a lot within a short period of time. So my only recommendation is really knowing what aspect you want to highlight and hit those and the benefits of each one of those. relatively quickly and then moving on. But I really do love seeing all the various aspects of what you're offering here, including the excursions and experiences. So really well done. Definitely wish you luck on the relaunch of what you were doing. I'd love to hear how that goes and the successes with that. So let's see here. I don't see any questions in the chat window. So with that said, Massimo, thank you so much for presenting to us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And judges, before we take our final break, before just some fun conversation, any last minute comments or feedback to the two presenters that we just had? And Gwendolyn, this is just before you sign off. Any last minute thoughts?
My thought is that they should keep doing what they're doing, because again, there's room for the coaching that Jennifer is providing, as well as the wine that Massimo is providing as well. So all the best to you both on your future endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other judge last minute comments?
I guess the only thing I would say, much like the first round, both suppliers had, both presenters had unique pieces to it, which makes it more interesting and most of the time more viable.
Yeah, I would say there are opportunities for both of these presentations and the presenters to go forward with their ideas.
Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Massimo. All right, so this takes us to the final break, and we're going to go into some conversation, community and conversation in about 8 minutes from now. So we are 8 minutes from the top of the hour. So feel free to take a quick break and do what you need to do, check on emails, get a beverage or whatever that may be. And we will start right at the top of the hour in 8 minutes. We will see you all soon.